These parents only feed their children junk food. We are talking about the Zampogna family from Supernanny. Let's break it down.
Meal times are difficult.
I'm not eating it.
Their menu is really limited.
Try it, smell it. Don't you throw up on me.
If they don't want it, then they're not going to eat it.
Do you want pancakes? Do you want muffins? But it is hard to get everything done. You're working, you're exhausted, and there's just not enough time. You just run.
The problem we have right here is picky eating. Mom and dad say, we're both working parents. We have a limited amount of time and energy to feed them. And then on top of that, when we serve something for them, they won't eat it. Outside of those staples, they just won't eat it. So if I cook it and I put it down and they don't eat it, I then just spent all this time and all this effort creating this meal. And you know what? They are not alone. Research indicates that up to 50% of preschoolers are picky eaters. After that, up to 27%. So if you have a picky eater at home, you are not alone. Half of the kids in preschool are indeed in this camp. Now, there's something that I'm sure you've heard before. It's called the exposure rule. Just because your kid doesn't like it, you need to expose them again and again and again. I just want to quickly say that exposure doesn't necessarily mean them eating it. It is a true thing. The more we expose our kids to foods, the more likely they will be to eat it and try it. Exposure could be looking at the food, hearing about other people talking about the food, reading about the food in books, even playing with the food, being a part of the cooking process, and they don't actually eat it. All of those count as exposures.
You're going to set the table?
No.
Dominic, Daddy's getting your hot dog. Remember, you said you want pizza?
Yes.
Giuseppe, you said you want the meat one?
The meat one with the Oreo.
I don't have that one, honey.
Why?
We have the separate Oreo.
I can give you an Oreo separately. Dominic, you want a hot dog?
I don't want it.
I will give you an Oreo after you eat this. Giuseppe, what are you gonna have?
Mom is at that refrigerator door like she is a full-blown restaurant. She's taking orders. Okay, would you like that? Okay, you would like, wait, did you want that on the side? And then this guy, he gets so upset because he wants a specific meal that has the Oreo in it. So when he starts having a fit, Dad then says, well, you can have the Oreo separately. It's becoming a behavior problem. Way too many choices. Instead, we offer two good choices. We say something like this. We're needing some vitamin A today because vitamin A helps us see in the dark. What? Yes. Now, carrots have vitamin A and sweet potatoes have vitamin A. Which one would you like? And then later on, we can talk about what to do when your child doesn't actually eat that. Where you can get all of this information so much, it's called Kids Eat in Color. Let me show you the website. I will link this in the description. If you scroll all the way down, you will see an entire list of nutrient-packed foods. Let's say you want your kid to start eating almonds. It will tell you at what age that you should introduce almonds. They even say what words to use. We try to avoid words like good and bad. Use neutral words. It's brown, it's rough, it's crunchy, it has a light smell. And then it says what the food is good for. Almonds help you poop.
What are you gonna have?
Dominic, what do you think of him crying like that?
It's annoying.
It's annoying for you, right?
Giuseppe's 4 years old and his behaviour is very regressive. It's so immature for a 4-year-old. So it's definitely taught behaviour and it's been encouraged because when he behaves that way, he gets what he wants.
So what makes a picky eater? Why does this even happen? In 2015, they took studies dating back to the 90s to answer this question. What makes a picky eater? Why is it happening? What they found was parental control contributed, social influences, even maternal eating patterns. But something that I think is so important to point out is that it is also connected to the personality of the child. You can have one child who eats anything and everything, and you can have one child who is extremely picky. Are we going to blame the parents? Of course not, because a personality is going to contribute. So just note, yes, there are things that we can do as parents, but not every child is going to have the same problem. You might have one child who has trouble sleeping, one child who has trouble eating, one child who has trouble making friends. Everybody's going to have a challenge with something. They just might not have the same thing. So if you're watching today and you have a picky eater, I want you to take that weight that you are carrying as if you are the problem and go, you know what? 50% of kids have this, and I'm not the only reason that this happens. So now that we've let that weight go, what do we do with it? Let's keep watching.
You want me to feed you? Why? How old are you?
So you're feeding him now, is that what you normally do?
No, not always.
No, not always.
No, to help.
So yes, but
coax them-
sometimes.
yes.
Yes,
Coax them
but
along,
sometimes.
yes.
No, but
Yes, sometimes.
sometimes.
My philosophy is when they start whining,
Yep.
they get the opposite.
Right.
If they calm down and then they present it to me, then I'll consider that.
Dad knows that giving in to the whining is no good, but he's just numb to it.
It is great to hear from Dad, and I am on the exact same page as Joe with what he's saying is spot on. The whining child should not receive whatever they want, but there's something to be said about how he is criticizing, but he's not the one doing it. Mom is the one standing there, and we do know that both of them are working parents. So I just wonder, why is this dynamic happening? Is it because mom doesn't let him help? That every time he goes to do, I shouldn't even say help, let him be a parent? Every time he tries to contribute, does she criticize him, which deters him from being involved? Or is he indeed just criticizing and not putting in the work? That's something to talk about, even for us to think about in our own relationships. Like, how did we get here? Does my partner not step up because every time they do it, I criticize them? Or is my partner just not stepping up? And regardless of the answer, these are answers you need to find out outside of the football field. We have the plan, we have the game plan. What happens when Giuseppe doesn't eat the carrots or the sweet potatoes? What are we doing about it? So, yeah, right? What do you think? Do you think it's mom? Do you think it's dad? Do you think it's a combination? It's raising kids is hard, and I don't want to blame anyone. It's just questions we should think about so that we can solve the actual problem in front of us.
Dinner's ready.
I want a hot dog.
We're gonna try meatballs and spaghetti tonight, okay? And you can have cheese on it.
Mom, I don't want to try.
Take a bite.
No, gross. Don't taste one bite, okay?
One bite. It's delicious. You guys, do you know that this is gonna make you stronger and stronger? Giuseppe, you used to eat this all the time.
You are so close, Mom. When he said, I want a hot dog, and then you just went calmly and firmly, this is what we're eating. And you even added, oh, you can add some cheese if you like. I was like, Mom, go. That was awesome. And then you did the whole thing where you're trying to convince your child. Just one more bite. You used to like this. This makes you strong. And you might be saying to me, whoa, Kristen, you told me to tell my children why the food is good for me. Yes, not now. Once the food is in front of them, the conversation about food is over. We're not talking about food. We're not going to say things like, just one more bite, or if you don't eat this, then this isn't going to happen. And definitely not feelings like, you'll make mommy so happy if you eat more. We want to just lessen the pressure. We're coming off the gas, and it's a no pressure situation. They have to sit there. Maybe that's a part of your rules. We have to sit while it's lunchtime or whatever it is right now. You can choose to eat it. You can eat it when you're ready. That's what you say. And then that's it. And then there's no other alternative. There's no, you get this food because you didn't eat this food. This is what we're eating. If you choose to eat it, great. If not, that's fine too. We won't be eating again until lunch. And we can talk about scheduling and how often kids should eat and all of that later. I pulled up some information from like the AAP. The discussions can happen in the grocery store. The discussions can happen while you're cooking the food. The discussions can happen in books, but it's not happening once the food is in front of the kid.
And you don't want to eat for what reason, Giuseppe?
No reason.
No reason. Well, at least you're honest, I guess.
Guys, 2 more minutes on those and then we need to go get our baths. If you want your snack, then go ask Daddy.
What's the snack thing? What's that?
They get hungry before bed.
They get hungry before bed?
Because they're not eating dinner, so they're gonna be.
So what do they get?
She's getting an ice cream sandwich tonight, I think. And
Ice cream sandwich?
They're there.
The schedule that they have is not serving them. What I mean by that is they have this system that before bed, they get to eat a snack because they're hungry because they didn't eat dinner. When you're trying to figure out what works for your family, you see what actually works. What they're doing isn't working. The kids are holding out because they know that they're then going to get the food after. So is there anything inherently wrong with having a snack before bed? Of course not. But if it's not serving the purpose, which in this case, the parents want the kids to eat more nutritious food, that's why they're asking Joe Frost for help, then the schedule is not serving you. Some other ideas that I've heard that have worked for people is offer certain foods that are an all the time food that they can have at any time if they're hungry, like a banana, right? Because it's not something that's so enticing that I'm gonna hold out for, but it's going to give them food because I mean, it makes sense. Most parents don't feel comfortable sending their kids to bed hungry. Just think like, if I do this, is this serving the goal? That's how you know what's working and what's not because the results. So, all right, let's see them eat these ice cream sandwiches, which is actually making me kind of hungry.
So you didn't eat no dinner, and now they're having ice cream right before bed? Or even Giuseppe, didn't eat dinner, get an ice cream as well now.
yes,
And you only had one bite.
yes,
But he's got no problem swallowing that.
you're exactly right.
We love a good moment when Joe looks right at the camera. It makes me think of the show The Office, you know, with the look into the camera. I wonder who did it first. Was Joe the original or not? You could fact check me on that. Where do our fun foods fall? Fun foods include added sugars. We're not talking about things that are naturally occurring like what's in fruit. Added sugars. The AAP says to keep it under 25 grams. So what does that look like? I have it for you. A Capri Sun has 18 grams of sugar. So that means one Capri Sun and you've already knocked out 18 out of 25 grams for the day. A Coke, you've already gone over at 39 grams. Think of things like muffins. They're glorified cupcakes. We start our day with Lucky Charms. I looked up a Pop-Tart, 17 grams. So just making sure that we have a place for fun foods, but that they fit in that about 25 grams. A little trick that I use is less and more often. What I mean by that is my children, especially my youngest, he has quite the sweet tooth. He likes to have a little something sweet. We know based on research to place our sweets at the end of our meal, it will lessen that insulin response. So they have the vegetables and the protein and then the carbs. And then the last thing is the sweets. And you can make the sweets very small. So those ice cream sandwiches could very easily just be cut in half. And then you'd be cutting down on the quantity of sugar. And kids, they're very easy to trick. Not that we want to super trick them, but when they're younger, you can kind of get by being like, ooh, you know, you're having 2 ice cream sandwiches today, when really it's one dang ice cream sandwich just cut in half. And they had one after lunch and one after dinner.
No, we're not having anything because it is bedtime. Giuseppe. No, Giuseppe. No. No cheese stick. You're tired. We're not eating before bed. Stop it. Stop. Right now.
Kids don't eat their dinner and then they get a great big sugary dessert. And that leads to the bad behavior. I need to straighten this out.
Joe Frost is going to save the day, and we will be watching the intervention on the next episode. Believe it or not, she throws a chicken nugget at Mom. It is a little bit funny and also just one of those moments that we will not forget on Supernanny. So have your notifications on. And before I go, let me just reiterate that picky eating will become a behavior problem if not handled properly. This child is hungry. He had an ice cream sandwich, very little protein, very little fiber. He feels out of control. Sometimes if I whine, I can get what I want. Sometimes I can't. Sometimes I'm put in this timeout chair. It doesn't feel good. She is actually making it harder on her child. Kids need structure. They need a plan. They need consistency. We will be talking about all of that, and I will see you next time.